welcome back to episode 49 of my knitting podcast. Little did I know it would take me 9 months to get back into podcasting, and I am very excited, a little bit nervous, because I'm so rusty. So bear with me, this is probably take 200, and yeah, I have to just get into it. Anyways, so welcome back. For everybody who's new here, a little introduction. So my name is Anastasia, I'm a knitter based now in Scotland, and for anybody who knows me from my previous episodes, yes, I was living in Iceland, and it has taken me 9 months to finally get settled in my new home. But here I am in my yarn/guest bedroom. It's more my office really. And I'm very excited. This room is almost finished. It needs a few curtains, a few more lights, a bit more like things. Like I need a chair and things in the shelf. At the moment I've got a plan from the living room just to make it a bit more livable. But yeah, things are coming together, and I'm very happy to have the time to film an episode for you today. You'll probably have a few questions what happened in the last 9 months, and I thought I'm going to put the live update at the end because, yeah, it's a knitting podcast and it's more interesting what I've been knitting really, right? You don't want to hear my terrible DIY stories. Anyways, so let's start with what I'm wearing. So this is a finished object and a test knit for my friend Lily. So this is the Winnie top by Lily Kate Franz, and I knitted it quite a while ago. This is the size 2 in the Cardiff Cashmere Classic. The color is called 711 Sakura. I absolutely love it. I was wondering first if I should wear make it in like a more neutral color to wear it more. Then I was like in full summer mode, and I was like, I'll knit it in something very like flashy, which I love, but in hindsight I should have probably gone for a more like a neutral color because it's hard to combine. Like I don't like to combine the really bright pink with black, for example. So yeah, it needs some softer colors, and I do find it a little bit hard to combine with in my wardrobe. And I haven't worn it that much as well, just because it's a bit of a delicate knit, and it's made out of cashmere, so I feel like I really want to keep it for special occasions. So yeah, I haven't worn it much, but I absolutely love it. It's so soft. If you have ever knit in Cardiff Cashmere, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, at some point treat yourself, because this was just lovely. So I got the yarn and cast on pretty much immediately. I made a gauge swatch, but when I was knitting it, I kind of reverted into a more denser gauge. So this came out slightly smaller than it was intended to be, which is okay. It's not the end of the world, but I have definitely a different row gauge because the V should have been a little bit deeper, which now it's a bit easier to wear, but I think I would have liked it a little bit lower. So if you get gauge for this pattern, you will have a little bit of a more, just a tiny bit of a deeper V, and it is actually very, very flattering because of this like beautiful lace edging. So yeah, I totally recommend for you to knit it or try it out. There's another version coming soon, so Lily is bringing out a sweater. I was very tempted to sign up for the test knit, but honestly, I've got so many whips, it's embarrassing. I've been like stress casting on and haven't finished much this year, so yeah. Let's not talk about my whips. Anyways, so this is the finished object. I'm very, very happy with it. I used 4mm needles. I could have probably gone up to 4.5 if I really wanted to. But yeah, I'm very happy and totally can recommend. Whilst I'm talking about Lily's design, just a full disclosure, I know in my last episode, I mentioned her name a few times, and then later on had a comment asking if I got all her patterns for free, and I should be a bit more open about, or I should tell that which ones are free patterns. And I got this pattern for free because I tested it, but normally if I'm not a test knitter, I always pay for my patterns. So even if it's for my friends, or designers that I maybe know, I will always pay the pattern, just because, yeah, I do value their time. I know it takes a lot of time for them to design something, and I think it's fair enough. Like, same as if my friend would have a cafe, and I go there for a cafe, I would insist on paying for my cafe because I pay at Starbucks, so I would pay my friends. But yeah, just for full disclosure, I got this pattern for free, and I did pay the yarn. I got a reduced rate for it because it was a test knit, but I still had to pay for it. And that's absolutely fine because I get something out of it. This was the first finished object in this yarn, and then I had some left over, and I saw a test call from Adorable Knits, or she's called Dorothy Offeciers, and she had a test call for this beautiful little, it's called the Twisted Twines scarf, and it's the little sister of the Twisted Twines shawl. There we go. It's a very small little scarf, just long enough for you to like wrap around your neck and put a little bow in it, kind of like that. Maybe not a bow. I think you wouldn't manage to do a bow. I could try. Let's try. You could probably. It probably would look like cute if you put it under like a white shirt, I think. In my last episode I mentioned that because I made the netty scarf, and I didn't know how to wear these kind of little small shawls, and I'll be very honest, I haven't worn a netty scarf yet, just because I don't know how to. Like, I should probably have a go at like maybe some dresses or something if they would work, but it looks cute. I just don't wear them. Anyways, I made this one. I might keep it or I might give it away. I just really fancied knitting some cables, and I had the perfect yarn for this test knit, and I think it's very, very cute. So the cable pattern is very easy to follow, and if you look at it, it's just, oh, it's so nice. So and it's a very quick knit. I do remember it was maybe 5 hours or something. It was really quick, incredibly quick. So and it only used 0.8 of a ball of the Cardiff cashmere. So yeah, perfect if you want to try out Cardiff cashmere. And that is my second finished object. The third finished object, I'm just going to quickly mention it just because it is here, is another pattern by Lily. I test knitted this one for her, and also, well, it wasn't a sample knit, but it ended up kind of being a little bit of a sample knit because when I knitted it, I didn't really have a home. I had like, we were renting an accommodation whilst we were buying a house, and I ended up not really wanting to have a lot of things there because we didn't have a lot of storage, so I ended up giving it to her, and it just came back 2 weeks ago, and this is the chapter cushion. It is absolutely stunning. I'm so happy how it came out. These are all leftovers from different projects. It's made out of Letlopi and a little bit of, I think some of them might be Plutulopi held double. I think the rose ones here, the lighter ones. Anyways, this is Icelandic yarn. It's quite rustic, so it might not be a cushion where you want to like put your head on, but it's absolutely stunning and hard wearing and perfect for a couch. I went for the exact same gauge as Lily, but the pattern is meant for you to be able to use different kind of yarns and also to use different kind of sizes. And then I went for this more interesting pattern in the front, and then the back is a little bit easier. So this is just rows, random rows of leftovers, and I just try to use up the yarn, and then I use these most beautiful mother of pearl buttons. And I found the perfect mother of pearl buttons in what's the name again? The Edinburgh yarn shop. Ginger Twist, there we go. Ginger Twist. They were ever so slightly big, so it was a bit hard to get the buttons in, but I managed. And so this one has been living at Lily's place for a while and is now back in my home and on my knitting couch. And I will probably make another one at some point. This was a little bit laborious, if I remember, but so much fun to knit, like, honestly, and it's a perfect way to finish or use some leftovers. I do have some Plötulopi leftovers that I could use for that, and I could also maybe substitute it with some different yarn. So absolutely love it. It's such a little highlight in the room, and yeah, couldn't be happier with them. I actually didn't mean to add this, but in my podcast today, because obviously I have quite a few finished objects, but I'm not going to mention all of them. But this one was so nice in the back, so I thought I'll leave it there as a little accessory. Anyways, so these are my finished objects that I want to talk about. Let's head over into works in progress. And the first one that I want to show you is the second sample kind of that I'm making of the same design. Oh, glad, good. I thought I was mid-row, but I'm not. So I'm making a little baby knit, and that is because I just had a little nephew, or my sister had a baby, there we go. And he's the most adorable little thing, and so I'm really just knitting loads of things because he's very knit-worthy. He wears all his knits all the time. My sister is very in love with the things that I've knitted so far, and he's growing so quick. He's 4 months old and he's wearing, I think, clothes for like 6 or 7 months, sometimes 8 months. So he's very, very tall. So I have to kind of keep up with my knitting. And so I cast on the second sample of the Charlie's Dayset cardigan. So I'm just using a color changing ball. This is a Yarn Art Crazy color. It's a DK weight yarn, kind of. It runs 260 meter per 100 grams, so that's probably more for sport weight, I would think. Anyways, but it's quite thick, and it's 25% wool and 75% acrylic. It's something that I had in my stash, and I just thought it would be a good idea to use up a bit of stash, because now that I moved, I know how much yarn I really have, and I do have to reduce my stash, let's be honest. So this one is very easy to wash. That was the idea, even though my sister is like, she doesn't mind washing things by hand. Actually, I even knitted her something in acrylic yarn just so she could wash it like a blanket, and she still hand washes it. Anyways, she's she is very knitworthy, and she really protects the knitwear that I've made for her or for her son. Anyways, so this is the little cardigan. It is so adorable. I made another one, and I'll show you a picture in the next episode, because I can't talk about all the FLs I made, but it fits so perfectly. So I'm just using this one. I'm not using the stripes on this one. So the Dayset is like a striped kind of version. I'm not doing that. I'm just letting the yarn do what it does, just to use up some yarn, and then I think I might have to go into the second skein ever so slightly, but I will still have enough to maybe make a really mini version for somebody else. This yarn is actually quite nice. It's a very cheap yarn. I started using Yarn Art for myself. This is like they do a really nice I think it's called baby cotton. I used that a lot last year, you might remember. And this yarn is really soft and lovely. You wouldn't really, I couldn't tell that this has acrylic in it. I would think that this is pure wool, but that might just be me. Anyways, I think it's very, very cute, and I can't wait to finish this one. This one is knitting up really quickly, so I started it the other night, just a day before we went out for like a day trip to Edinburgh. And I just wanted something really easy to knit, so I thought, okay, I'm just gonna cast it on, bring it to a point where I just have to do the raglan increases. And I managed, I think, to knit all the raglan increases whilst we were out. And then, yeah, I've just been using this one for like car knitting, or when I don't have the headspace to concentrate, because my other knit is a little bit more involved. This one I'm knitting actually just to not forget, I'm knitting the 18-month size, just because cardigans are really good for, like, I mean, if you, the chest circumference of a baby doesn't change that much, it's just the length, I feel. So I looked at the different sizes, and some of the sizes had only like a really few stitches difference. So I decided to just make a bigger size, and then she can roll up the sleeves. I'm making them a bit longer anyways, because it's nice in the winter when they can, like, when they're rolling around and stuff, it doesn't roll up so easily. So they can like kind of like have it like under the bum when they're lying down. And then he will be able to use that maybe up to for another year, if everything goes well. I'm gonna make the sleeves a bit longer, and then she can just roll them up and have that for the winter, and then maybe next winter as well, depending how fast he grows. He grows really quickly. So this is the first whip. This is kind of my car knitting, as I said, really easy knit. And then I've got one that is a little bit more involved. Not overly complicated, it's just taking a bit more time. And that is another test knit for Lily. She posted a picture. I kind of saw the progress of this one when she was designing it, and I was so in love with it, like almost immediately. I remember we went to Barcelona last year for Barcelona Knits, and she mentioned that she had a certain vision, and I was very excited for her take on it, because I feel like she makes, or she designs, the perfect date knits. And by that I mean like very feminine designs that you can wear without people kind of knowing that you made it yourself. So this could very likely also be something from a very like high-end store, but obviously you would never really get anything like that in the quality, you know what I mean, like something that fits you so well. So she had this vision of making this mohair sweater, and then I saw it kind of coming together, and when I saw the final version I was like, yes, absolutely, I need to make this one, because I absolutely love this. And here it is the start of the Lavinia sweater. I'm still working on the front panel. I'm maybe three repeats of the cable before I join in the round, and then it will be very easy. I mean, it's very easy now already. I just have to use the time a little bit to knit on it. But this is so, so beautiful. I'll let you have a look at the texture. So it's ever so slightly sheer, but you get away, depending on probably which color you choose, but you will definitely get away with just wearing like a skin colored bra. I tried on her sample, and it's so, so beautiful, and I'm really excited to have this in my wardrobe, because I know it will get loads of wear. I know that I will go out with that for like nice dinners, or yeah, you could even dress this up on like if you go to like a concert or something. And yeah, absolutely love it. The yarn that I'm using is something very delicate and special as well. You might see a little bit of a pattern here. So in the last months there was so much work around the house, and yeah, so the only things I really treated myself to is buying really nice yarn. And this one is one of those treats, besides of the Cardiff Cashmere. I love the Ito Sensei. I think Ito Sensei is one of the nicest mohairs I have tried, and that is because the silk content is a little bit higher. So we have 60% of mohair and then 40% of silk, and it also has a little bit of a few more meters kind of in a ball. So this is a 20-gram ball and we have 240 meters, and this is just a cloud. Let's see. It is the softest thing you can knit with. So this is the label, and I went for color Pale Blush. Absolutely stunning. I love it so much and I can't wait to have this finished. Obviously I still need quite a bit of knitting, so I might do that tonight, or I will do that tonight. I will have to do that tonight. I have to knit a little bit on it every day because yeah, this test, it is due at some point. I don't really know when. I remember the test knitting period was quite long for this one, so I will have to check. But yeah, absolutely love this one. I know this will be something very, very dear to myself. Dear to, yeah, that's I think how you say it. And I can't wait to finish this one. So this is the second whip. And I do have so many more whips that I could talk about, but I think I'm gonna keep these ones for another episode just because it is very, very crazy. I have cast on so many projects, and I have kind of a lot of projects that are almost finished that just need maybe a week or so of dedicated knitting time to finish them. And it's kind of so stupid because honestly they're so nice projects. It's kind of been a scheme there really. I started knitting projects, got to a point where I maybe had to measure a little bit or figure out how I want something finished, and then I didn't finish them and just started something new. But it doesn't mean anything about the project itself. I just wasn't in the mood of going too complicated, like getting to too complicated points with patterns really. So yeah. So that's why I have a lot of whips on my needles. But I thought I'm going to talk a little bit about acquisition. So I have been buying a bit of yarn. At some point my excuse was that my stash was in boxes and bags hidden away in the storage units. Then I finally got my hands on my boxes again, and then they were like in the garage waiting for the yarn room, and I was like really in the mood of treating myself. This was like the way I was like kind of rewarding myself for the work that I was doing. So I was just buying yarn, and I have bought a fair bit of yarn, but all for projects that I have in mind and like realistic projects. So I'm gonna show you a few acquisitions. I'm not gonna go through all of them because it is a little bit embarrassing. But this time I'm just going to talk about my Knitting for Olive order. I did order a fair bit during the Gaza fundraiser, and I've got a box of yarn here that I just need to show you. So let's start with the first one. The first one is the Heavy Merino. Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the color Trench Coat. There we go. And that is for a baby pattern. So I'm gonna make the baby bear suit, and that is a design by Pernille Larsen. I thought whilst I was buying yarn from Knitting for Olive, I thought I'm also gonna buy the patterns just because I really like their designs. Like, they have really nice designs, and I've never taken the time to really knit any of them. I think I made a baby hat at some point, but I really wanted to try more of their designs. So this one is the first one. So this will be a Christmas present for my nephew. And then I bought another quantity. Let me reach over. So this is a full sweater quantity that I bought for myself. The colors are not They're not 100% sure because it's a little bit dark in here. But this is the Knitting for Olive Merino and the Silk Mohair in the color Forest Berry, and so I mixed Forest Berry and Wild Berries. This is a very me color. Like, if I buy lipsticks, they're usually that kind of color. If I wear nail polish, they're usually that kind of color. So this is very me. And I'm gonna make the Astrid sweater out of it. Again, a pattern by Pernille Larsen. Absolutely stunning. Like, I saw that last year when, I think it came out last year, maybe the year before, on Instagram. And I was like, I will have to knit that one. I just think it looks so cool. I love this like hem. That is, I've probably knitted with short rows, I would think. So I'm really looking forward to this one because I think it's just like an easy knit. Once you kind of knitted the little details on the bottom, it's just like smooth sailing. So this will be a sweater that I definitely will wear as well, like every kind of day. Not every day, but like, you know what I mean. It's just gonna be an everyday sweater. Easy to wear in the winter time. And one thing I realized now that I'm living back or outside of Iceland is like homes are a little bit colder. Like, for example, now in my knitting room, at the moment I don't have a radiator because we're changing the heating system. But even with the radiators in other rooms, it is a little bit chillier and you can't really heat your homes as we were doing it. I remember in my last episode I was talking about how we were heating the homes a lot and I wasn't wearing jumpers at home in Iceland. Well, it's definitely different here in Scotland. If we would heat our home to that temperature we were having it in Iceland, oh my god, it would be so expensive. So this was the second sweater quantity, and then I bought one more sweater quantity. However, only half of it arrived, no, 3/4 of it arrived because some of it was out of stock, unfortunately. So I made myself a little promise. I'm gonna use the Astrid sweater quantity, and then I'm gonna use the baby bear suit. So I'm gonna use that all, and then once it's finished I'm gonna reorder the rest that wasn't available at that time. But I'm gonna make the Lucrezia pullover by Claudia Quintanilla out of the Knitting for Olive Merino and held together with the mohair. And I'm gonna use the rust color, which is just the most beautiful orange, together with the cream. The cream is the main color, and then this one will be the contrasting color. I met Claudia a while ago when I was on a work trip in Canada, there we go. And I saw her sample when it was still on the needles. Oh, and I loved it. It was so beautiful. And I know she brought it out a while ago and I meant to knit it already and I never really took the time, but it is just such a great design. I think something also very timeless. So like a colorwork sweater that you can just like very easily combine with like normal everyday clothes. So very excited to be knitting this one after I used up some of the stash yarn. Does this count as stash yarn if I just bought it? Yeah, let's say it does. Anyways, so these are my acquisitions. However, my next cast on will be something different. I want to use up some yarn that I bought at a yarn festival because I'm going back to Barcelona Knits in November, and we're now at the end of September. So I made myself a little promise that I would only go to Barcelona if I would knit up some yarn that I bought at some yarn festival. This is actually a yarn that I bought at Rhinebeck. That will be probably a couple of years ago, I think. And that is the Odang. It's a Farmer's Daughters Fibers alpaca, I think it is. Yeah, it's 26% silk and 74% suri alpaca. And it's this absolutely beautiful, it's kind of like a burgundy red. And I'm gonna make the Sadie top out of that. It's a design by Woozy by Celine. I really like her videos and I love the design, the Sadie top. Again, it's a very delicate feminine look and I'm excited to be using this yarn for it. So this is my next cast on once I finish the Lavinia sweater, so I have to get a bit of a wiggle on. So these are all my knitting projects for the moment and all the plans. I do have so many more plans. I'm looking at my yarn cabinet and I think it would be a cool episode to maybe go through my stash at some point and show you what I have and maybe talk about plans, but that will be for another day. So this is the end of the knitting content for this episode. So if you're only here for the knitting content, thank you very much for watching. I totally appreciate it. You don't want to know about life update. It's not very interesting anyways. It's just me yapping about the last months. But yeah, thank you for watching. And for the rest, just a quick recap. So the last time I filmed was the Barcelona recap, and it's kind of weird to think about it now because it's only like a month and a half until I will be going back to Barcelona for Barcelona knits, and it's always like a really like kind of a highlight because we go there with friends and we just have the most relaxed kind of weekend amongst some knitters, and it's so fun. But thinking that it is happening so soon again is kind of weird. I mentioned in my last episode that I was about to move, and we ended up moving to Edinburgh initially. So I moved there in the beginning of the year. It was a lot of logistics because obviously there's a whole household that has to move from Iceland to Scotland, and I've done this move now a few times, like moving abroad, overseas, and I always forget how much work it is. You have to time everything perfectly. You have to pack the boxes, get everything ready, move it to the port, and then suddenly you're just left with like the things that you have there, like immediately in your hands. Just maybe a couple of suitcases and stuff. So yeah, it was a logistical challenge, but we managed. Got to Scotland. Initially we really lived in like a temporary accommodation, just like a furnished apartment, and then we found our dream house fairly quickly, to be fair. So we moved into this house in April and have been doing a lot of DIY projects since. So many things I didn't know I was able to do. Like I have changed plug sockets, I've painted so many rooms, and yeah, for example, this room here where I'm in, I started just by like ripping off the wallpaper, and then the plaster was coming off the walls, and then we ended up taking everything out and basically stripping the room almost back to like just the walls. But we're slowly getting to a point in the house that it is just feeling very homely, and yeah, I'm very excited for the winter now because there are still some big projects on the horizon, but at least I've got my knitting room ready, and then this is like really great to just so I can actually get to my yarn. However, I have lost some yarn on the way. I really don't know where it's gone. There might be a few more boxes where it can be, but I'm a little bit heartbroken. Like my whole mohair stash has gone. I don't know where it is. Like I've gone through all my stash now. I've got it in plastic boxes. I'm gonna show you. I've got it all like in plastic boxes in like I bought like a kitchen larder, like a big cupboard, and to protect it from moths, because I've seen that there are moths here. Not in the house, but obviously flying around. So I just want to be like extra cautious. And I've put most of my yarn in plastic boxes in a cupboard. But some of the yarn is gone. And the saddest thing is like there's one project that I started and I'm missing 2 balls of the yarn, and I know I had it and I can't find it anywhere. Anyways, I'll get over it. I'll find it at some point. Yeah. So since moving, I've been just doing a lot of DIY, a lot of gardening as well. We have a big garden that needs maintaining, so that was a lot of work. It is a lot of work and will be more work next summer. I am from the countryside, so I know a lot of things from like my childhood, but I do have to learn a lot. So yeah, my garden is lovely, but not anywhere where it should be really. And then the other thing I've done a lot this year, maybe not so much once we moved to the house, but I'm doing it a lot now, is I started running again. Also in the winter time when we moved to Scotland, I really wanted to do something to get out of the house. I just needed to like do something, and I started running in Edinburgh, and it was just like fantastic. But Edinburgh is so great for running. It's ever so slightly hilly. You can run the hilly routes, but you can also run along canals. So I signed up for a marathon in May, and then we moved house, and I didn't run for like 4 weeks before the marathon, and I was almost I was thinking of not running it. And then I was like, you know what? No, I need to prove myself, because I did follow a training plan. I was like, okay, I really want to run the marathon, and I did, and I was very, very happy. I managed to take 10 minutes off my personal best, which, I mean, I didn't even expect. I just wanted to finish it in the first place, but I was in really great form. And then I completely stopped running afterwards. Yeah, I think I didn't run for like a few months at least. And then when we got to a point in the house where most of the things were ready, I started running again, and I've been like really falling back in love with it. I just started another training plan to run a half marathon in, I think, it might be end of November or beginning of December, I'm not too sure. Just to have like some kind of goal. And that's what I'm gonna do actually now. So it's Sunday afternoon. I think it's like 4 o'clock or so. Yeah, it's 4 o'clock, and I've got a long run to do. So I'm gonna, after I finish filming, I'm gonna change into running clothes and go for my long run. Really looking forward to it. It's a sunny day, and yeah, perfect for airing myself out. So that's what I've been up to really. And also just like doing things around the house. I mean, we have a lot of fruit trees and berry bushes, so I've been making jams and baking, and it's just been a lot of fun. It's really weird to say, but I feel like I've come home. Like, the only thing is what is missing is now social connections, because obviously moved from abroad, and like I don't know many people around, so that is something that I need to work on. But this will come with time, like as it always does. I didn't have many friends when I moved back to Iceland, and then when I left I had so many friends. So yeah, that's basically it. That's the live update. I know some of you have like asked if I was okay, and that was very kind of you. Thank you very much for reaching out. I'm totally fine. I'm actually very, very happy where I'm at now. Not bragging, by the way. It's just like, it's probably okay to say that as well, right? Like to say, oh, like the last months have been so much work, but this is like nice now, you know, like I'm sitting in my yarn room, and yeah, it's just normal life, which is great. Anyways, that's it for my 49th episode. I think I've got an idea what I'm going to do for my 50th episode, which is fun. And I'm very well aware that I did have a knit along for the end of last year, and I never sent out any prizes, but I do have them here, and I will make sure to send out some prizes before I release the next episode. I do feel bad that I haven't done it until now, so apologies for that for anybody who has been waiting. I will pick a few winners and send out some prizes before the next episode, and I will sure to mention that in the next episode as well. So that's it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're doing well, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Thank you, and bye-bye.